Hello, everybody. It's David Scott again. Here with another vlog podcast, whatever you want to call it. Love all the different names. Anyway, really funny story today. Um, Something that came to my memory a few days back. It's really funny. It made me laugh as it usually does. So it was really, it's like one of those times where something happens and it takes you totally by surprise and you're really embarrassed. So here's the deal. About 25 years ago, I had a printing business. I sold it to my son about 10 years ago. But about 25 years ago, while I was running the business, we're trying, we're struggling, we're having a hard time, and got to pay the bills. And I didn't really know too much about running a business at the time. And we had a local hospital in the town that at that time needed a lot more printing than they need today, but they still do. But envelopes and then all kinds of health forms and all those kind of things that come up. So they would use us, but I wanted to be used more by them, and I could tell there was something up, and something wasn't. We weren't getting everything that we should from them, and I started to get to know the purchasing manager pretty well. Turns out he was a former printer, and he didn't have a lot of trust for printers, from my experience, printers will promise a lot of things and then not keep up with their promise. They'll promise you next day or the 2 days or whenever you say you got to have it, but then they don't come up with it. That's one of the main reasons why my business did well in the long run. Was if somebody said I have to have it tomorrow and I couldn't do it by tomorrow, I didn't promise it and didn't do it. So anyway, the purchasing manager decided, okay, maybe we'll sit down with this guy. So he got a meeting put together. The head of the hospital, the other manager of other departments that were dependent upon these forms, and they couldn't have, they couldn't have things go wrong and be short in the forms and so forth. So there's about six to eight of us in the room, and the purchasing manager's asking a few questions and so forth. I didn't get very far into the meeting when this happened. So I'm gonna stop it right there and let you know. Got a good little background. That's, like I said, 25 years ago. Cell phones were relatively new then. They weren't like today, and and back then we were all learning them and having some fun learning them and everything. And we found out about ringtones. We found out you could have your own special ringtone for a special person or whatever, and you could make your own ringtone if you wanted to. So my wife grabs a hold of my phone and she, like, she goes, okay, here's what my ringtone's going to be. Click, records. Answer the phone, you sexy man. Yeah, that's what she did. She put down, answer the phone, you sexy man. And that was it. We all laughed, thought it was really funny. So, boom, kept it there. Didn't think twice about it after that. Okay, back to the meeting. So I go into the meeting and sit down. We start to have just some, talk for 5 minutes, about things, and said, I like to keep my promises, blah blah blah. Anyway, all of a sudden, I forgot to turn my phone off before the meeting to silence it, and my phone goes off from my wife, and it's, answer the phone, you sexy man. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm reaching into my pocket and trying to find my phone and pull it out and get it out. Again, it goes off, answer the phone, you sexy man. And I'm like, oh. And then finally hit the button, boom, turn it off, and then I'm totally embarrassed. I'm looking around the room and everybody's got this big grin on their face. But before anybody broke out into a big laugh, the manager, the purchasing manager, said, "Was that your ringtone? What was that?" And of course, I could have said, "I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what that." I just was totally embarrassed, but I was completely honest. I said, "Yes, that's my wife's ringtone. She put it on my phone so that when she called me, I would pick up the phone." And I was so embarrassed. My face was red. And all of a sudden, everybody, all of the nurses and the managers, everybody burst out into a laugh. And they thought it was great. They loved it, right? But the purchasing manager turned around immediately after everybody stopped laughing. He goes, you know what? You've got the contract. You're going to get all of our printing from now on. And I'm like shocked. I don't know what's going on. He goes, if you can admit to that, we can trust you. The point of the story, as funny as it is that when you're real, and you're honest about things, when you're real and you're honest and you can admit faults, admit weaknesses, other people can trust you more. If you come across like you don't have any problems or whatever, people don't trust that. People can trust when you have admit that you have problems, admit you're not the greatest at something, admit you made a mistake. You be real with people, be honest with them, and you would be surprised the relationships you can build around that. So my advice in the future is to be real and to not let your wife put a ringtone on your phone. Answer the phone, you sexy man. See you later. Bye.